Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
I want you to join me today listening to what Solomon Owusu, a ranking member of Movement for Change and a former MPP member, has to say about the strike of the nurses and midwives in Ghana. His anger is they describing themselves or their service as essential, and some of the conditions they want government to provide for them. For example, funeral grants and taking free medicine or medication when sick, which he also give them example as a teacher who pays his or her child's school fees, even though he's a teacher in the same school. He said a lot of things which I cannot say by myself, and I want you to join me listening to what he said into detail with anger. He's very angry at them. And seriously, it's good for us to demand for service, good condition of service, but sometimes it's bad. Because those we think we are wicked are not the people going to suffer. Without much time wasting, I want you to join me listening to what he said into detail. Thank you.
Midwifery should remember a single soldier has been lost because of the strike. God, okay. Thank you very much for the comments. This one says, and this is the only workers in Ghana. They should give us a break. Dr. Admako should also compare the salaries of teachers in Botswana to that of Ghana. All workers deserve better. Teachers pay the fees of the awards in the schools they teach. There's Joachim Alatiga, who says, Honorable Dr. Anamba's submission on the nurses strike was commendable. I fully agree with his position that the renewal of a professional license should not be controlled by the employer. This responsibility should rest solely with the individual professional. Additionally, I support his call for the harmonization of conditions of service across all government sectors. There's Asanko in Santa Maria, who says, per labor laws, are nurses who are part of essential service providers, like the police, military, fire service, and etc., are supposed to go on strike. Why are the laws not being applied? Are they not being pampered too much? And Sanko Sender from Santa Maria continues to say, unjustified strike actions would continue to disrupt peaceful running of this country. If steps are not taken to make it a crime or to impose or elect politically tainted workers to work in place of union leaders. As Sanko in Santa Maria. There's this one, Stephen Kobenya says, Madam Perpetua was linked to politics and a backlash because during the strike by labor unions on Galamsey, she told the world that they will not participate. It is all alleged that she's married to an MPP branch executive at English Amafro. That's Stephen who said that for Kobenya. Stephen, thank you for the comment. There's this one says, good morning. I'm shocked to hear the nurse and midwives are demanding for funeral grants. What do they think of themselves? Are they the only people who attend funerals? This unthinkable request, who proposed that for them? They want to continue the strike for people to die, for them to be given. Why? Charles sent that from Joapon. It's not money they pay to them when they attend funerals. That's not the essence of the funeral allowance. No, that's not it. Yes. There's also...
I think Ghanaians must know that the condition of service, we have the general ones, and this one applies to every government worker, every institution.
So every government worker.
Yes, there's some amount given to you when you have a funeral. It's for social activities. Yes, they even give you a car, a bus to hire if you are living far away to go to attend to your funeral. That one is done for every government worker in this country. It's not only for them. So they are not talking about those ones. They are talking of the 8, which are different, specific to them. But the general ones like travel allowance, funeral allowance, and all those things is something that exists in all government institutions.
Okay, yeah, thank you. This one says, hi, this is not about policies. Don't you think that NDC are on the same train as in putting 1 cedis on 1 liter, which is almost about 9%? Okay. The person continues to talk about... okay, thank you very much for that comment. There's also this one. A very good morning to you all, especially Uncle Solo. I think as a nation, we should make sure nurses and doctors are bound by law not to go on strike, because the ordinary Ghanaian who suffers the consequence of their strikes are the very people whose taxes pay them at the end of the month. That's coming from George Streeter. Thank you very much for those comments. Keep them coming. Mr. Solomon Owusu, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Senna, and good morning to my co-panelist. First time meeting Dr. Anaba as well. Anaba, yes. I know that Anaba, one stubborn Anaba in the family, lawyer. I don't know whether you know him. He was very close to me, so I consider myself an Anaba.
Thank you.
As for Doc, I told you that they made a mistake by not retaining him at Anyasotium. But our movement, which is metamorphosing to political party, will consider him. Because that is the only way out. We will field him as a parliamentary candidate. And he would understand it. Today is what? The 14th of June. Mark today's date. The future will be so clear for them. Comrade, good morning. Yes. Senna, what are we discussing? Nurses strikes. I mean, I'm happy that you started with the two medical doctors. You see, when the matter is home, they want to scratch the faces. Because, like they say in Twi, it's very difficult to separate their line of duty and also, saying it as it is. Because if you don't say it well today, tomorrow someone will play your tape for you to, as it were, appreciate. But unfortunately for that, I am not a medical person, so I am free to go. You understand me? These nurses and their strike, in all humility, in all truthfulness, is something that should never have happened. It should never have happened because of the way and manner they themselves carry themselves. You go and negotiate conditions of service as far back as 2024, May. It was to be implemented in July of 2024. Now, for some strange reasons, but make no mistake that it was the Professional Association of Psychiatric Nurses that sat down and said, oh, you will go to court and spend 7 months for the conditions not to be implemented. Then you will be living in a fool's paradise. 2024 was an election year. A government going into a major election that didn't want to hear or have anything to do with industrial actions to affect its chances, goes to agree on funeral grants, height and death allowance. Hey, Senator, this is the first time hearing about height and death too. Now, when someone is on the first floor, takes 2.8 pesos as a daily risk allowance. You move to the 10th floor, you move to 20 pesos. You move to then those in Bed Khalifa. You know Bed Khalifa in Dubai? It's about 100.
Then that does not apply to them.
Who told you? It's part of the negotiation. They are all part of the nest. We are discussing their conditions of service. Who is a nest in this negotiation? They went there as a union. So everybody in the equation is catered for. Is that the case? And it is the reason they are on strike. So let's discuss it. No, don't let anybody come and deceive you here. We are talking about conditions of service. Height and death allowance, because of that, they are home. Funeral grant allowance, they are home. 13th month allowance or salary, they are home. I'm a surveyor by profession. I'm supposed to renew my license every year. I don't remember the last time I went to government to go and pay for my renewal license. Because of that, they stayed home. People died. In any case, even whilst they are dying, we are dying. So that issue of when they go on strike, people are dying, is also something that I don't want to hear. But even when the doctors are there, they will do their best, their part. The nurses, they will do their part. But we will still die. Today that we are returning, we are still going to die. Death is part of human race. So a new government has come to meet these conditions. You need to judge on with them so that all the issues that were agreed, the conditions of service that were agreed with the previous administration is implemented smoothly. This business of one, I've heard UTAG also threatening. Everybody is threatening. We are going to go strike. Everybody must strike. And then if the country collapses, how are you going to live in Botswana? We will live in it. The least provocation, we are striking. So I can tell you without any shred of doubt that the decision that by the Professional Association of Psychiatric Nurses to take the mother body to court was not just accident, but it was political. The party then was being smart to prevent them from rolling out, because they were supposed to, as it were, implement these conditions of service as far back as July. But guess what? They were able to settle their matters in January of 2025. Mark the dates. We have been told by Nana Kumia, I remember, that the NPP got to know that they will lose election 2024 as far back as January. So if I am going by what Nana Kumia said, that the party NPP knew of his defeat in 2024, we are all doing politics. Why do you think Gufo left single salary structure to Professor Mills? You set the trap and you leave it. You do a program, they call it National Science and Maths Quiz. They say problem of the day. They will give you the problem. Come and solve it. But I believe that one of the things that this NDC administration didn't do well was to giving those ranking members at the time that they were in opposition ministerial appointments in the very same ministries. You understand? Because then it becomes a tit for tat. And that is the problem Akando is facing. Because you spoke a lot in opposition. So if they are going to play back your own words, your own deeds in the same ministry, there was a reason why in the year 2001, President Kofo never appointed Dr. Richard Allen to the health ministry. Because he has spoken extensively on that sector. So to us it was save him and save the government. Where did he send him to? Rose. You can't come and accuse him there. So going forward, if President Mahama will listen to advice, these are some of the things that can easily work against your administration. When you have had vociferous people in opposition, opposing the other side, and you are now the substantive minister, how are you going to survive there? It's not a good strategy. you get my point. But everything about this strike is politically motivated. Take it from me. Look, the president, I don't want to go on this tangent of the husband is a weak argument who chooses someone's partner in life. He said, today I met a beautiful lady in town, and then I decided to, as it were, speak to the family and then marry there, and tomorrow she becomes the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association. What does that got to do with strike? Her own utterances is what you can use to judge her whether this is politically motivated or not. In 2022, I heard her say that the conditions prevailing in the economy was such that there was no way the government could have met their conditions of service. They fought. I'm paraphrasing here. Said we fought. But when the evidence is so clear, you can't do anything about it. So they accepted government's position. What is the difference in today's situation? When Labour itself accepted 10% increment, we all know that we are in a difficult situation. So as a country, we must do our best to move it to a stage where all of us can get what we demand. Workers pretend to be working, employers pretend to be paying. That is what we find, how we find ourselves. It's not rocket science, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's what the economy is churning out. That is what is shared or spread across board. Our economy is not that robust. And to that extent, when you begin to bring in examples of the UK and the US and Botswana, then you must also be prepared to answer the other aspects of the economy, whether it relates to our economy. We are at par. And if it is the going out or the mass exodus of our health professionals as a result of the better conditions outside, then I'm sure there shouldn't be any single person living in this country as a medical person or a nurse, because our conditions across board are not the best. I even have an issue with singling certain institutions out as essential service providers. It's misleading. The nurse needs a driver, a taxi driver, to move him or her to the hospital. Without that person moving the nurse to the hospital, that nurse will never get to the hospital. So the day that when GPIQ strikes, you see the impact on the economy, but we never consider them as essential service. I was on a set with another communicator who was saying that, look, during COVID, we saw how the nurses suffered. I said, you must be joking. I'm a transporter. But for our intervention, they couldn't have survived. So if you classify nurses as essential service providers and leave transporters as non-essential, then where are you coming from, the Mars or the moon? In any case, when you get to the hospital, the cleaner, if the cleaner does not clean the hospital and it smells, nobody could stay there and work. The carpenter has to provide the chairs. So in every economy, you must treat every services as essential. You would have gotten it right from the beginning. Look, as far back as 29th of May 2025, the Ghana Registered Nurses Association wrote to the Labour Commission expressing their intentions of embarking on an industrial action. That's a strike. 30th of May 2025, the Labour Commission wrote back to them and said, look, hold on. We don't want to have any industrial unrest. For that matter, let's all meet on the 4th of June 2025 and resolve these matters amicably. When did they embark on their strike action? 2nd of June. So from what I'm recounting, do you think they had any good faith or intentions towards these whole actions? You realized that the Labour Commission had something to do with it, so you wrote to them. They also wrote back that, hold on the 4th of June, all of us will meet. Then on the 2nd, you embark on strike. On the 4th, the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and the Ministry of Finance met. They called all the executives of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, and none of them could pick the phone. Some even off their phones. Total disrespect. You say the woman is saying what? Disinformation, propaganda. If anybody has done propaganda with this strike, it's the executives. We must not be using our unions as a Ponzi scheme. And that reminds me of the Ghana Bar Association. The way and manner they behaved initially with the Tokono issue. You remember? Their first response, when the General Secretary of the Ghana Bar Association was asked, what is the position of the Ghana Bar Association? He said, and I'm paraphrasing, that look, up to the time he was speaking, the president had behaved within the confines of the Constitution. And so they have nothing to say about it. They would rather encourage the president to respect the laws of the land, and which he was doing. Then they started striking at them. They met at the Labadi Beach Hotel on a very fine Saturday like this. Said, have you been to the Labadi Beach Hotel before on Saturday? You don't go to these places. DJ Black plays on Saturday. All the beautiful music. Go there today. They met, ate, chilled. When they came back, they said the government had goofed. They were going to court. So when you behave like this, do you want me to say that you are not politically inclined? And that is exactly what the Ghana Registered Nurses have done. They are saying that the actions, they know the actions leads to a death of people. Didn't they know that before they embarked on it? They were exposed. Then they have been exposed. So there is nowhere to hide. You went to meet the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health. Except because by virtue of meeting them, you have called off your strike. Is the salaries or the the conditions of service going to be paid by the Parliamentary Select Committee? The body mandated. Finance Ministry will release money, fair wages and salaries will negotiate salaries. Ministry of Health, the employer, and Ghana Health, they were waiting for you to deal with the very issue you took to Parliament. You refused. You refused. When you realize that your strike has been unpopular, you just decided to go and hide behind, what do you call it, the Parliamentary Select Committee on what? Health and say, oh, because of what we discussed with them, we are calling off. That is total hogwash. Look, if you don't tell people our peace of mind in this country, they will take all of us for a ride. They will take all of us for a ride. Go to our various hospitals and see the sort of treatments that these nurses who today are calling for funeral grants, they give to our mothers. The last time my mother went to hospital, the cheek of it, a young nurse, an elderly person, what can she do? Disrespecting left, right, center. Then when you are there, they say we should give you 13th month allowance because you did well by disrespecting the very person who comes to the hospital to pay. Today, what they do, when they are on duty, then they are on live, Facebook, TikTok, they are twerking and everything. At the hospital, some of them are even doing praises when the patient needs that peace of mind. All this is because the public, we don't complain. Go to our major hospital, Kolebu. You need to pay the nurse before they even lead you. But our society, we know the truth, but we want to hide. We want to hide. Tools allowance. Senator, they say tools allowance. So I don't know whether the tools is this country. But you see, it calls for a total review of the conditions of service across board. We need to go back and realign what we do. I think we handle issues with a knee-jerk reaction. Especially in election years, the government of the day is afraid. They will gaslight you. Oh, if you don't do this, our members will vote against you. So they go and accept everything. That's why I'm saying that the government, the SY administration, they were very smart. They agreed, but they made sure that it will not be implemented by hiding behind the PAPMG for 7 months. Now it is your time to implement. You see the way they are going about the infra center. And this is not good for us. So if they have called it off, already we are dying. We welcome them back, but they must put up a very good attitude. They must not come and behave the way and manner they have been behaving in the past. Because they are living with us. Every profession matters in this country. Every profession. We must not look down upon other professions. You see, it has eaten into our moral fabric that, look, when you go to our various campuses, I remember when I was on KNUST campus, those that were doing medicine never respected those that were doing biomedical science, biology, and so on and so on. They said they are all rejected souls. You go to University of Ghana and see those that are reading law. They don't respect others. And I ask myself, where from this thinking? If the farmer does not go to the farm to farm for food to come, this morning as I came here, I've been offered malt. You think without this I'll survive? They were thanking journalists. Is that not the case? For what?
Said for putting their issues
Absolutely. Out. Why didn't they put their own issues out? So it means your role was so critical. But when was the last time journalists went on strike? Your conditions of service, have you exposed to the general public? Ghana Police Service, go and see their conditions of service. The army. All of us are in the same boat. And that is why, as a country, the issue of corruption must be dealt with head on. Yesterday, did you listen to the Attorney General? People still in this country without looking at their height, at least still according to the size of your height or the length of your height, they're still beyond their heights. A small institution called the National Service Authority But even the figure that was put out there is a conservative figure. That 548 million. They go and steal, and when you are an innocent person contesting in your small constituency, they use that money to come and depose you. Ill-gotten wealth, ghost names. Hey, increasing returns. In 2018 to 2019, they stole 25 million. In 2020, they were sympathetic towards. They reduced it to 21 million. Then they shot it up. Election year 2020 to 55 million. Then when they realized that the Ghanaian was gullible, because after stealing all this money, you renewed our mandate in 2020, they moved it to 61 million, and 2023 credit, that was it, 350 million. And they came back to their senses and bringing it down to 32 million. These are the issues. This is why the reason why the Ghana Resident Nurses Association must strike. That why is it that few people who hold this country to ransom, and this is only the national service? Look at the people that are going to be prosecuted. Asibe, where was Asibe coming from? He was the former mayor of KMA. So if he could come and do this, it means he did worse at KMA. But the Ghana Audit Service, that institution must be scrapped. Where have they been all these years? Every year you claim to be doing auditing. So you mean to tell me that when you go and do your auditing, you don't see anything? That institution, who watches the watchman? Who audits the audit service? Who audits them? By now, traces, the Ministry of the Attorney General's department must begin to go back to KMA and audit them the period that Osasibe was the mayor there. You see, Mustafa, I said the time with that number here. Akufo-Addo, when you steal, then he rewards you more. From the national service, where did they move him to? Please allow. We are doing this today. We will do it together. Always you come and sit here. You'll be watching us. You don't want your voice to come in. He was, as it were, moved to the Ministry of what? Youth and Sports. Ghana was going to just Cote d'Ivoire here. It's about 30 minutes by air to just go and play all Africa Cup of Nations. We were eliminated in the first round. This gentleman came back and told us that we expended $3 million. Hey! As if that was not enough. 13th All Africa Games. You remember? 13th All. Professor Amina Lassa, whatever you are, that man deserves a national award. You remember when he exposed the Eswal administration? That the GBC only took $105,000. Meanwhile, in the budget, they claimed they had paid $3 million to the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. How can we be so wicked? Now they told us that they cooking alone. For Egyptians, cooking wache and ampesi for the Egyptians, Ethiopians, they expended $15 million. But they two and the wife did the cooking. Tax journalists, when you are going on a program, this paper just write your name, send a number. Solomon Owusu. Small thing, then you put a frame on it. Even Olympic Games in France, for the whole world, the entire world, they expended only €700,000. Ghana here, All Africa Games 13th edition, we expended $4.6 million on tax, according to Yusuf Mustafa. University of Ghana Sports Stadium, Kofo had done it to about 84% or so. You are left 16% to complete. That's the Titan tracks and some few fixtures and fittings. The gentleman looked straight into you and me, our faces, and told us that he expended $34 million to complete it. Meanwhile, Takwa Sports Stadium, newly built stadium, but Goldfish Ghana costed $13 million. This country, why are we like this? Why? What wrong did we commit? Renovation, 3 halls, Elizabeth say, Liman, Kwapon, that stretch. It's a hall that is already occupied. You only fix air condition. This man told us they expended $16 million to do that. Because he has succeeded at the National Service Secretariat, he was emboldened. And those faceless people who are the presidency, who also enjoy the booty, Mr. Attorney General, don't look at it on the surface. They couldn't have enjoyed this booty without the connivance of the presidency. Take it from me. From the office of the president and the vice president. Investigate, I have said, NAPCO. You remember NAPCO? There was no way, nobody can convince me that they were paying 100,000 people every month. Do you believe that? But national service alone should tell you that figure is padded. Oh yes, my brother. You didn't get some, that's why. They bought money to come and remove you from that place. But you will go back, inshallah. Or I'll take it. The New Patriotic Party will not see the need. But you see, all these things has happened in this country. And the nurses and other professionals, UTAD is not concerned about it. All you hear is that book allowance. No. You must be demonstrating on some of these issues. And the youth of this country must be angry enough that your future is being toiled. We were told growing up that we must go to school, burn the midnight candle, go to the university. When we are done, we will get jobs to do. And a lot of people have first degree, masters, PhD. They are home. These people only come 2 days, 3 days. They are filthy rich. They build everywhere. See the apartments springing up everywhere. It's not for these Lebanese and Indians that you see them. They are going to hide behind them and they are putting it up. And they will come and tell you and I, our children, that their parents were smart. You see, smart working. Stealing from the state is smart working. Stealing from, and that is why you see a lot of people, young ones, now they want to enter into politics. When you ask them, what is your ideology? They don't have anything. All they know is that when I come into politics, by a year or two, I'll have a house at East Legon. Is that the motivation to be in politics? Everywhere, Tivri. So they should go back, Senna, and then negotiate with the ministry items that are doable, that can be contained by the budget. The ministry must consider it, but they must not be under any pressure to do what they cannot sustain. Because we are building a country, we are not building a political party. Whatever negotiations you go to agree, you are binding the entire country. Let's do what is sustainable. If every nurse or doctor will leave, let them leave. We will die here. Nigerians will come and take over the country and they will manage it for us. But I can tell you that this country will survive.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon Owusu. Don't forget, we are live on Radio Gold 90.5 FM. And you are sending us some messages through Facebook. And the page is Pan-African Television. And this is Francis Gordon, who says, all workers in Ghana are important for national development. Those who clean up our streets daily are also health workers, and the conditions of their service should be taken care of. Therefore, the termination of Zoom Lion contract was in the right direction to help us improve the lives of those in that sector. Let's take care of our human resource in all sectors of the economy. Nurses are not different. There's Dede who points out that Kufuor did the same with the single spine salary structure. Bagula Jamauli says, Doc, with all due respect, your submission about infrastructure and human capital is below the belt. Every nation developed based on infrastructure first before human capital. Even as we speak now, there are so many graduates out there who are unemployed and jobless. What do you think is the reason? When President Mahama was building the E-blocks, what was the narration by then? The free SHS exposed it by the traffic system. So infrastructure is the beginning of job creation and employment. Please, let's be honest with ourselves and stop partisan politics. What GM did in 4 years, if Akufo-Addo was to do same, we would have been somewhere by now. Nasir Mohammed says a deliberate plan, this was a deliberate plan by the MPP to cripple the nation and the health service in particular and give the NDC government a bad name. This woman who only about a year ago was rather a government spokesperson against her own union, suddenly turns full circle and puts her union on strike. This will refuse to go on anti-Galamsey demo because people will die. All of a sudden, see nothing wrong with people dying. These are political leaders. There's Samuel James Aholu who says, Uncle Solu, thank you for your great submission. Always feel happy listening to you. Talk the truth. If we speak the truth, Ghana will move forward. Thank you. Solu once again. Emmanuel Kujo Fojo Nyahe says this guy is talking sense. Please tell them we all have to be honest to ourselves. You have a lot of more fire here. There's Nilate, there's Enochio also saying truth without mincing words. Solo, my fireman. Kwe Noel says you think, okay, he's not happy. Says you talk on TV, all this about nurses, but when they go on strike, you cry wolf. Charles Thompson says Solomon also always speaks the truth to power when it comes to matters of national importance. Barbara Humeni says this is the hard truth. David Domen says Solomon also is best. I like your submissions, keep it up. Nasir Mohammed says Solomon is always on point. Then he asks, please join NDC.
What did he say?
They said you should join NDC. That's
Why
what
they're not joining the movement.
And a couple of comments also coming from those of you who are sending us WhatsApp messages. Says, Mrs. Olumonsu, you have been speaking well, and let Mother Ghana, okay, live on. I'm speaking from the Owusu region. They do. Emmanuel sent that. There's also this one which says, Senna, so the nurses have a genuine case, but it looks like their demands without careful reflection is outrageous. Some time ago, Comrade Pratt said a U.S. soldier can walk into our country and check out anytime they want over their own ambassador. That's a condition of service, the nature of the job. Though ex-President Nana Addo disappointed us big time by these huge promises, some of us, Ghanaians, cherish initiatives like the free SHS to cushion us from the economic hardship, irrespective of where we find ourselves, even if unemployed. I think the government, while solving this issue, should look beyond the nurses. Many Ghanaian employees are having challenges with affordable accommodation, paying utilities, and even taking care of their family out of their salaries. Don't let the Ghanaian be a nurse or a politician to have a better standard of life. Let's send that. Thank you. Baba Alaji from Elembele says, I want to ask the second panel member that did Nana Addo increase the salary of nurses and Mahama reduce by how many percent? He should tell the listeners. That's coming from Baba, who sent that from Elembele. James Mano is also joining us. The government should stop recruiting nurses for hospital, but should privatize the nurses and doctors to companies with the qualified professionals to take over nurses and their postings. The government will then pay these companies and the company will pay the nurses. Why is that nurses with the same qualifications like these government nurses who work at private hospitals and herbal hospitals don't go on strike? Late President Mugabe did the same and sacked all striking nurses and brought student nurses to work. Enough of their bluff. That's James who sent that. There's Reverend Duff who says the way to solve this strike matters is not dishing out taxpayers' hard-earned money. The government to put all essential service sectors under the Ghana Army. Remember, 37 hospital and police hospital never go on strike. This one is a good morning. Abdul Razak from Pig Farm says, good morning. How are you and the panelists doing? Tell Mr. Solo that he should keep the good work done. Abdul Razak sent that from Pig Farm. Thank you. Okay. Must call. Okay, Anthony Tufo and Obuasi once says, please ask, Ghana must call all pensioners 60 to 70 years, 60 to 67 years. They stay at home. They are strong to work. Okay. He was asking that we should tend to pensioners. The nurses didn't take that kindly when the minister suggested that. Prosper Kalenji of Kasua says, why should they sit down with the nurses and their chairwoman doing this with the world government?
Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and choosing us as your favorite channel. To all our cherished members, we urge you to also subscribe as well for more videos, like and also share to other friends of yours. We really appreciate what you are doing. Thank you.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Now so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.